Hi, friends. Welcome to Crash Course Catholicism. So, have you ever had that moment when you're boarding an aeroplane and logically you know that flying is safe, right? You know that planes fly every day and that statistically you are far more likely to be killed by like a falling fridge than you are by an aeroplane. And yet, right at that moment when the plane begins to take off, you experience that like jolt of fear. It's that spasm of panic. And there's that moment where you think, this is it, the plane is going to crash and we're all going to die. Okay, that moment reveals something really important, which is the gap between logically understanding and knowing that something is true and actually personally believing it. Because those are two different things, right? They're not the same. We can know something, that doesn't mean that we believe it. And that gap between knowing and believing can be incredibly frustrating, especially when it comes to questions of faith. Maybe you've experienced this. Maybe there is a question that you're trying to answer and you've done all the research. You've explored all the arguments, say the arguments for the existence of God. You've examined the evidence and you've weighed it all up. And intellectually, it all makes sense. You're looking at it all and you're like, yes, this makes sense. But somewhere inside, you still find yourself saying, okay, but I just don't believe it. You haven't had that click, that light bulb moment where you personally believe it. So what is happening in that gap? What causes that spark, that moment where understanding becomes personal conviction? So in this video, that's what we're going to explore, that space, and why faith is more than just intellectual reasoning alone. Faith is not simply knowledge, it's something deeper. So today we're going to look at the mechanics of faith. What does that process of making an act of faith actually involve? Now, the first thing we need to say before anything else is that faith is ultimately a gift from God. Okay, the Catechism puts it like this in point 153. It says, faith is a gift of God, a supernatural virtue infused by Him. Before this faith can be exercised, man must have the grace of God to move and assist him. So, in other words, faith begins with God. In the same way that we can't put the spark of life into our own bodies, we can't bring ourselves to life, we rely on God for that. We also can't put the spark of faith into our souls. We can't force ourselves or will ourselves into that light bulb moment. All we can do is prepare ourselves and be open to it. So, in order to have faith, we first need to be open to the grace of God. We need to actually be able to say to God, God, I want to believe. I'm ready to believe. Please help me to believe. Okay, so that's the first thing. Faith relies first and foremost on God's initiative and grace. But we've said that we need to be open to that grace, and we also need to play a role in having that act of faith, making that act of faith. So there are some things that also need to happen on our part in order for us to make an act of faith. To explain that, I want to use my favorite thing, which is a metaphor. Okay, imagine you have a friend who is housebound, and this friend has never been to the ocean. Now, you want to convince that friend that the ocean does in fact exist. So, what do? Well, you go to the beach. You fill up a bucket with seawater, you grab some shells and some sand, and then you take all of this evidence and you present it to your friend. And you say, okay, look, this is not the ocean, but it's a bit of it, okay? You can stick your hand into the bucket and feel that the water is cold. Taste it. You can taste that it's salty. And then you describe what the ocean is like to your friend. Now, your friend looks at all of this evidence and they listen to what you're saying and they say, okay, so there are things here that I don't fully understand, okay? I don't have the full picture. However, you've given me enough that I can say, yeah, okay, I believe you. I think that the ocean exists. Okay, now let's pause and think about what just happened in that process, because a few things are going on and each of them matters. So first of all, you brought evidence to your friend. Okay, so why is that important? Well, because As we've said in the previous video, faith isn't just blind faith. We need to have reasons to believe something. This is what the church calls motives of credibility. Faith is not irrational. It's not blind faith. In order to make an act of faith, we first need to see that that faith is reasonable. So that might be through evidence or through logical arguments or through our own experiences. Okay, so first of all, we need to have reasons to believe, logical reasons. Secondly, your friend's intellect was involved in that act of faith. So you presented all the evidence to your friend, and your friend didn't just go, okay, sounds fine. Your friend actually engaged with the evidence, okay? He looked at the sand, he tasted the water, he touched it, maybe he asked questions, okay? So in an act of faith, we don't just switch off our brains, okay? It's not like faith goes around our intellect, it goes through it. True faith engages with the mind. Your brain is in the room, it has a job to do. Third of all, your friend's will was involved. Your friend was presented with something that made sense, okay? He analyzed the evidence, and then thirdly, he freely assented to it. He said, yes, okay, I believe. Let's think about it. Your friend didn't have to do that. I mean, we can imagine a version of this scenario where your friend looks at all the evidence, says, yeah, look, this all makes sense. But seriously, an ocean, this giant body of water with ecosystems and animals in it. I'm sorry, I just can't accept this. I don't believe it. So in that case, if your friend decided not to believe in the ocean, the issue isn't necessarily that there's a lack of evidence, okay? It's that your friend has not made that free intellectual choice to say yes. So when it comes to faith, that act of the will is really important. Now, that act of the will is supported and enabled by the grace of God, as we said earlier, right? Ultimately, faith comes from God. It's a gift from God. But we're not just passive nothings in that process. We don't just sit back and grace does all of the work. We genuinely have free will as human beings. So yes, God gives us his grace, and that's what makes it possible, but we have the capacity and the responsibility to say yes or no to the grace of God, and we can choose to reject that grace and not to believe. We do not have to accept something as true, even when we can see that it makes sense. Okay, now, fourth, the person who brought the evidence to your friend has to be credible. Imagine a version of this story where it wasn't you who turned up at your friend's door with a bucket of ocean water, okay? Imagine that it was your friend's older brother who is a bit of a prankster and who is always having your friend on. Your friend's brother brings the same evidence, okay? But your friend looks at the evidence and goes, get out of here. You're always playing pranks on me. I don't trust you. And that makes sense because even though the evidence is all there, the source isn't trustworthy. So that really matters too. Now, when we think about faith and we're talking about credible sources, we're talking about a couple of things. First of all, those kind of earthly sources, so like books or teachers, people we trust, testimonies. However, we're also talking about divine sources, okay? Because we're talking about divine revelation. There are certain truths and mysteries of the faith that human beings can't just conjure up of our own volition. So we can think of mysteries like the Trinity or the Eucharist. These are things that require God to reveal them to us. We couldn't just spontaneously come up with them on our own. We might be able to understand them conceptually and make sense of them, but we can't just come up with them. So you could think about, for instance, a baby in the womb. A baby in the womb couldn't spontaneously kind of come up with the idea of a fridge or a banana, okay? Because those things are just so far outside of that baby's points of reference. All it has seen is the inside of the womb. And that's the same thing with us. We rely on God to reveal certain things to us. And the reason why that's really important is because God is the most credible source that there is. So the Catechism in point 156, I'm paraphrasing because it's quite a dense point, but essentially what point 156 says is that ultimately the reason why we believe in revealed truths from God is not because they make sense intellectually, although they do make sense intellectually, but that's not why we ultimately believe in them. Ultimately, we believe because God Himself has revealed them, and God cannot and will not ever deceive us. Now, when I first read that point, I kind of balked. I was like, really? Because aren't we always told that we shouldn't just believe things just because someone told us to? I mean, in the previous video, we talked all about fideism, this idea that we just accept things because someone has told us that it's true and we don't engage our intellect and we don't look for rational reasons to believe. So isn't there something wrong with saying, oh, we ultimately believe this because God told us to? Surely that's a problem, and that's what we've been arguing against this whole time. Okay, the reason why we wouldn't just automatically accept something that someone else has said to us and why we need to check our sources is because human beings are fallible. Right? They can get things wrong. Human beings can deceive. They can make mistakes. However, the same cannot be said of God, and we can only say this of God. God, by definition, is truth itself. He is the creator and the source of all that is. And his testimony is not just like one opinion among many. What God says is true because God is truth. This is the way that St. Thomas Aquinas puts it. He says, truth itself speaks truly, or there's nothing true. If we can't trust God to tell us the truth, then there can be no truth whatsoever. So this is a really helpful thing for us to bear in mind. If I'm struggling with one of the truths of the faith and I'm struggling to get my head around it, maybe the problem isn't so much with that concept itself. Maybe that's not where I need to start. Maybe I need to start with my relationship with God. I need to ask myself the question, do I really believe that God is truth itself? Do I really believe that I can trust what God tells me? And maybe that's where I need to begin, with my relationship with God. Now, none of this removes the role of our intellect, the fact that we ultimately trust God. As we've said, our mind is also involved. But the ultimate credible source that we can go to is God Himself. Okay, now all of this brings us back to where we started. Yes, there are reasons that make belief reasonable. Yes, our intellect and our will are involved, but ultimately, faith itself, true faith, is a gift, and it is God who moves us, who opens our minds, who strengthens our will, and who enables us to say yes and to make that act of faith. So if we are struggling to believe, it's not just a matter of trying to think things through, even though that is really important. It's also a matter of our relationship with God. It's a matter of turning to God and asking for that gift of faith. So, for example, if you are struggling with the question of whether or not God exists, one really easy prayer that you can say is, God, if you're there, show yourself to me. Okay? Because that click moment, that moment where we move from understanding and knowledge to belief, is not something that we can force or manufacture. It's something that we receive and that we then freely respond to. Okay, so that is a recap on what an act of faith involves. In our next video, we're going to look at what faith actually looks like when you're trying to live it day to day in real life. What does it mean to live faith? Spoiler alert, it is harder than it sounds. Okay, talk to you then. Have a great day. Okay, bye.